And we are live. Hello, boys and girls, cats and dogs. We are an inclusive channel. I am glad to see you here. Very soon we will see people coming over from Granny D. She does her live stream from 5 to 6, and then here I am at 6 just getting started. And oh, so many things we have to talk about. Oh my goodness. But I see that nobody's here, so I'll just, keep working on my project here. So what's going on with everybody? Oh, okay. So, if you're here, please tell me in the comments that you're here. Anyway, so what we're doing here is just talking. Hey, MOB. Hey, Beth Minton. Oh, gosh, I'm not sure I've thanked you before, Beth Minton, have I? Anyway, what I'm still working on is a moss stitch shawl with this yarn. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this yarn, and I got it on sale when I was in New York at the Adirondack Yarn fair and craft show, whatever they call it. Doris, oh my goodness. Hey, Doris, and Jackie and Roberta. I'm so glad to see everybody here. So anyway, yes, I completed an Alicia shawl with this yarn, but I wasn't all that happy with it, so I'm reworking it into a moss stitch shawl. And so that's what it is. It's going to be a big old honkin' moss stitch shawl. Oh gosh. Hey, Sandy Hook Hook. Yes, MOB, isn't this glorious? I love this. And so I knew when I bought this yarn, and honestly, it was $4 a skein. So when I bought this yarn, I had this one friend in mind who loves pink. So I worked up one shawl with it, and I didn't like the way that came out. So now I'm reworking it as a moss stitch shawl, and it's coming out a lot better. Anyway, here we are. I'm so glad to see you all. Wow. What did I do as a typo? Oh gosh. Anyway, so glad to see you all. I am enormously thankful for every individual person who comes to all of these live streams, for every subscriber, for everybody who clicks thumbs up, which I hope you've already done, for everybody. People are always sending me wonderful, wonderful gifts. And I want to show you the one that was when I posted yesterday for my Topic Tuesday. Hey, Doris. So when I posted yesterday for my Topic Tuesday, I had not yet been to the P.O. box. But when I went there, look what I found. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 skeins of this gorgeous stuff. This is Premier Eversoft, which I don't think I've used before, but it feels great. And look at the color. There are more blue hats in my future, and this came from Doris. Thank you so much, Doris. She is remarkably generous. I have been working on a sweater with other yarn that Doris sent me. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. Okay, this is what I wanted to show. This is going to be what I used to call the sweater that would not die. Um, this is with Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool, which is a perfectly wonderful yarn to work with. It was not Doris, forgive me, it was not Doris. It was another viewer who sent me the Fisherman's Wool. But I mean, that is why I am so grateful. Everybody is so incredibly generous. I just can't bear it sometimes. Um, but anyway, that's I started on that sweater. Actually, I started at the retreat. Hey, Trees got fan. Um, well, yeah, welcome in. I don't believe I know you, but you're always welcome. And anyway, so, yeah, no, Doris has been incredibly generous. Some other viewers have been incredibly generous, and I am so, so grateful to everybody who has been generous to me. I cannot thank you enough. Um, so, little bit about my weekly schedule. Today is Wednesday. I usually do a Wednesday free for all, which is a live stream without a topic beginning at 6 o'clock on Wednesdays. Thursdays, I usually don't post anything. Fridays, I post something. It's either going to be something pre-recorded or it's going to be a live stream. This week, it's going to be a live stream at 4 p.m. Saturdays, I usually don't post anything. Sundays, I usually post a poetry reading. Mondays, I always have my Monday Men, and you cannot believe the guy that I have lined up for this coming Monday. He's someone I met at the retreat over the weekend. He is not only fascinating in his accomplishments, he is hysterically funny in person. So I hope you will tune in on Monday and see that recorded interview. I'm going to record it tomorrow. Tuesday, I have my topic. Tuesdays, yesterday, it was all about a retreat recap. Then I will get back onto my planned schedule of topics. I do dad jokes every 6 to 8 weeks. Those are always popular. Hey, Becky. Hey, Ola Joe. And here we are back again on Wednesday. Okay, I was going to talk about the retreat a little bit, not a lot. Yesterday on my topic Tuesday, I talked about the yarn that I scarfed. Oh my God, I came away with so much yarn. I cannot believe it. You know, when I went to the retreat in New York, I overspent on yarn. So I was determined this time to underspend on yarn. I only spent $23 on yarn, but you will not believe what I came away with. There was a table where people could bring yarn that they would donate, and other people would pick it up and you know, buy it to benefit, like there's a retreat scholarship fund. So I got 6 skeins of this Lion Brand denim in this gorgeous color. What's it called? Can't read anymore. Jumpsuit? What? What are people thinking when they create these colorway names? Anyway, I got 6 skeins of this Lion Brand denim in this colorway for $6. And on top of that, there was a perfectly wonderful guy there. Hey, Lori, glad to see you. Hey, Granny Banani. There was a perfectly wonderful guy there who brought bins and bins and bins of yarn. He was decluttering and destashing. So he was going to sell that yarn at ridiculous prices. And hey, Nancy McDonald. To benefit the scholarship fund. So I came away with 5 skeins of hand-dyed yarn for $17. You're lucky if you can get 1 skein or hank of hand-dyed yarn for $17. Let me show you some of the things that I got. So these are 3 different colorways, but they look a little bit similar. I'll figure out something to do with them. But wait, there's more. He also had these handmade bags that he had created, Notions bags. So I had to get this one because it has puppies on it. For $3. $3! Could you die? Oh my gosh. Hey, Freaky Geek. Hey, Crafty Grandma. Okay. So there were also like door prizes with things that were given or provided by nearby local yarn shops. I got 5 hanks of this gorgeous deep red color. I don't know, there's like a sticker over the brand name of it, but it's like 85 or 55% alpaca, 45% merino, 5 skeins at 218 yards each. How gorgeous is that? And that was all as a prize. That came from this amazing yarn shop in Franklin, North Carolina. But wait, there's more. The same gentleman who provided all of that hank yarn gave me a whole bunch of these Notions bags that you will see in giveaways coming up. They even smell good. Oh my gosh. So you'll see those coming up in giveaways. But wait, there's more. This same gentleman, who is a perfectly lovely human being and a very, very, very nice man, he was a subscriber to this channel already, so he knew that I loved Lion Brand Mandala. So he brought me some Lion Brand Mandala just to give me as a gift, with nobody else knowing what was going on. It was funny when we transferred it from the trunk of his car to the trunk of mine. It felt a little bit like a drug deal, but you know, I can deal with drug deals like that, you know? Oh, hey, Gabby4509. God, my eyes are so bad. Hey, Yarnbarf. Hey, Nana Michelle. Hey, and then there was 5? Oh, yeah. And so there's even more on Monday. So the retreat ended on Sunday. And Sunday, I went, rather than driving all the way back to Wilmington, I stopped in Charlotte to visit friends. And they very kindly offered and invited me to stay a second night. So I stayed on Sunday and Monday nights in Charlotte, which was a very nice buffer, and I needed that. So that gave me the opportunity to drive up to Salisbury, which is only an hour from Charlotte. And so I met up with Granny D. And Granny D gave me yarn. Yeah, because she always does. That's how she is. You cannot meet with Granny D without receiving a gift. That's how she is. So she gave me yarn. I haven't sorted through it yet, but it's, you know, it's not skanky yarn. It's not bad stuff at all. Oh my goodness gracious. So I was determined to underspend on this retreat. And boy, howdy, did I. I sure did underspend on this retreat. So it was fun. It was a really good time. I met some perfectly wonderful people, some of whom you will see in future interviews. I hope that a large number of them will be long-term friends because they were just great people. Okay, let's see. Yeah, a fun and exciting shady deal. Exactly. Exactly. And I didn't have to give him anything. He's honestly, hey Divergent, glad to see you. Honestly, Doris is asking what kinds of things do I learn at these retreats. Honestly, it's really mostly knitting people, and I don't knit. I think I might have been the only person there who only crochets. But that's okay. At this particular retreat, there was one workshop in Bosnian crochet, which I did not know before. But really, I don't feel like I have gained anything by learning about it because it's all slip stitch. I offered to facilitate an informal crochet discussion, but only 2 people showed up for it. So we talked a little bit about crochet and then we just dished the rest of the time. Next year, if I am able to go, and I certainly hope that I am able to go, I will want to do a class in crochet basics. Yes, Divergent, great networking. And I hope that I will be able to show the benefits of some of that networking. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to do an interview that will wind up as next Monday's Monday Men interview. There were some really, really amazing knitters there, and some people with amazing stories to tell. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen some pictures of, I coerced some of the guys there to model some of my finished objects for me. Really, really nice guys. Everybody was very intelligent, very interesting, very good to talk to, and there were no stupid people there. Uh, Doris is saying what she would give to learn how to knit. Actually, I have heard, I don't know where it is, someone mentioned it, maybe it was just today. Someone mentioned there is either a workshop or a video out there about knitting for crocheters, um, which I think would be very useful. Honestly, I've always said that knitting is a mystery to me, and I'm okay leaving it that way because there's still a whole lot to learn with crochet. Oh, excuse me. Oh, anyway, so okay, let me see if I can. Okay, that is the link if anybody wants to come up. So anyway, it was a great, great, great time, and I hope that I can do it every year. And I hope that, hey LJ, I hope that the friends that I made at this retreat will be very, very, very long-term friends. Oh, arg. Oh gosh, LJ, it's turkey lurkey time. It's turkey lurkey time. Because I watch a lot of cooking videos, and there's no escaping turkey stuff nowadays. Yarn Barf says knitting is torturously slow. I believe it is when you compare it to crochet, because crochet works up very quickly in comparison, but it also eats up a lot more yarn. Oh gosh, why am I so yawny all of a sudden? Could be because I'm sitting still. How are we doing for thumbs? Okay, Divergent, I don't know what we're doing for Thanksgiving. We talked about going to a restaurant for Thanksgiving, but because it's just my sister and me, we don't have anybody coming over, and no one is inviting us anywhere, I'll tell you that. So we might go to a restaurant for Thanksgiving. We will probably do something at home for Christmas, but I still don't know what. 21 thumbs, hooray! So, but I mean, there are so many wonderful things that I learn about cooking turkeys that would provide far too much food for the two of us. We usually just, get a turkey breast and cook it in the oven or something like that. It usually comes out terribly dry. But don't tell my sister I said so. And we have Divergent. I'm not petty at all either. Yeah, we'll have Thanksgiving dinner together then. Yeah, I think for Thanksgiving we'll probably go to a restaurant. We need to check out what's available. Yeah, yeah. Um, we usually just get a chicken breast, boneless, and cook it, and that's fine for our needs. We make a cornbread dressing that goes on the side. I like to make a head gravy because I like to just cook anyway, and so I can use I what I like to do is, you know how you can get like 10 or 12 wings or thighs for $10 or something like that. I'll cook those. Use that. The If it's wings, or rather if it's thighs, I will use that meat later for like chicken salad or something. But then everything else goes into a stock, and then really a broth, and then I can use the broth to make a gravy. Yeah, I'll call. I haven't seen Gwenny Square this week. Where's my phone? I need to message her because she's my local yarn buddy. Iowa. Okay, just sent Gwenny Square a message. That sounds like a great plan, Doris. Divergent, that sounds good too. Doris, do you know, I as a kid, I hated with every fiber of my being instant mashed potatoes. So nowadays, if I'm doing mashed potatoes, they have to be real. And I love to do real mashed potatoes. Hey there!
Hello, how are you doing tonight?
We're good. We're talking Thanksgiving food.
This year I'm not cooking.
Good for you. Who's cooking for you?
My aunt.
Excellent. Yeah, we pretty much decided to go to a restaurant for Thanksgiving this year.
This year I'm glad that I'm not cooking this year.
We pretty much decided to go to a restaurant for Thanksgiving. Do you need to mute something? Because I'm hearing an echo.
That's my other TV in my room. Sorry.
Okay, is that better?
Yes, I had to turn it off.
Okay, that's better. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this year for Thanksgiving we'll probably go to a restaurant, but I wanna do stuff because I love to cook, even though it doesn't always turn out as I hope it would.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wind up with a lot more than we really need because really it's only my sister and me.
Try having about 30 people coming to your house every year.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yes. Oh, and thank you for telling me my shirt is cute. It's actually a nightgown that I'm wearing.
Actually, I do like it. Yeah. No, I don't. I can't even think of 30 people who like me enough to come to my house. But yeah. No, I love to cook. I want to make some make-ahead gravy with, you can get the turks, the wings and stuff that you would normally just discard anyway. You can get those packaged up and just roast them and make stock out of that. And
I like
and
making
then
homemade gravy because like homemade gravy lasts me for about like 6 months in my freezer.
exactly, you can freeze it, and then you could just anytime you want, you could just make a little bit of rice, pull out some of
Mhm.
that gravy, and you're in heaven.
And I normally do like chicken and biscuits with gravy. Like if I make it around the 4th of July, I normally use it around Thanksgiving and Christmas. And like I love it.
And I have seen on some of the cooking channels, they will save the drippings from this event uh, for the next one, and they will have something in reserve to use today. And so that saves time, and usually it saves their clothes too for whatever they're wearing when they're making the dinner, and that makes it so much easier.
Yeah,
So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. Even if it, yeah, I'm gonna get me a package of wings. I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna make me some make ahead gravy.
because I
And
normally like use normally in my gravy I normally use flour because it thickens it up a little bit, and like
mhm.
whatever seasonings, and then a little bit of whatever broth I got left over to give it some flavor.
Yeah, exactly. I am finally learning at age 58, soon to be 59.
Mm.
I have a birthday party planned for one of these Wednesday free-for-alls on December 8th, by the way. Um, um, but I'm learning to cook with a roux, where a roux is like half and half fat and flour, whether it's butter or
I like
animal
bacon
fat
grease.
or oh god, I love bacon grease. Oh.
I love bacon grease. I use mine with bacon grease.
But yeah, you just mix that up and you cook it. And I used to not let it cook long enough, and then when I would try to make gravy, it would taste sort of grainy. But I'm
Mm.
learning to let it cook and cook and cook until you think it's done, and then cook it some more.
Like the way
And
I normally do mine, I normally put mine like on low temperature, where like if you put it on high, it burns quick, and if you put it on a lower temperature and constantly stir it, you'll be fine. But at the same time, you
hmm
gotta keep an eye on it too, because if you don't, that's the quickest way you burn it. I
yeah,
learned that trick from my grandparents.
I've learned. You know, I watch a ton of cooking videos, and I've learned several different methods for making gravy. And um, I've learned a lot of, from personal experience, I've learned a lot of mistakes to avoid. Um, and I hope that I'm pretty good at it now. I love to cook. I just don't have, it's me and my sister, and half the time she doesn't like what I cook anyway. So, but then half the time I don't like what she cooks either, but don't tell her. Um, so, uh, I love to, when my ex and I were together and we had a nice apartment and we could have people over, we would like make dinners, and it was so pleasing in a way that I did not know before, but it's like it's in my bones.
Hmm.
This thing about cooking for people, and that's how you show love.
Like me personally, I like to cook, but not as much as I used to anymore. Because growing up, I cooked for like 8 people in my household every single night. And as I got older, like I would cook, but it took me years to learn how to not cook as big meals when I moved on my own.
Yeah. Now, my mother was the oldest of five, and she grew up on a tobacco farm in southeastern North Carolina. And so both of the parents were out. So she was the chief cook and bottle washer for everybody. So, which probably explains a lot with me. But so she could make anything taste wonderful. And I grew up at her elbow. I am still mystified. I don't know how she taught school every day and then came home and made a hot meal for us every night.
'Cause right now, I didn't cook tonight. I had leftovers from last night, so I didn't have to cook tonight.
No, she would plan leftovers, but I mean, she must have planned those things like weeks in advance because there was also budgeting
Yeah.
and shopping and preparation and stuff. And we did not have a lavish budget when we were kids. She was a school teacher. My dad did various different other things, but we were not flush. But she always had a hot meal every night.
Like that's how my grandmother was. 'Cause like if it wasn't for my grandmother, some of the things I cooked that I would have never knew. Like everything I know now, she was the one who taught me, and especially like my grandparents are from down south, so I grew up with some of the southern cooking that they taught me. So it was like, and I was always in the kitchen every time they made one of my grandparents made something.
I was always fascinated by everything in the kitchen. And so, as I say, I grew up at my mother's elbow, just watching her do everything. I don't think she ever specifically taught me anything, but I just learned it all. And at the time and place when I was in junior high school, boys and girls all took both home ec and shop.
Yeah.
So everybody learned a little bit about cooking and a little bit about, I don't know what it was, carpentry or something. So, but still, it was, yeah, I mean, so much of what I learned, even as an adult, into my 40s, I would call my mother and say, what do I do now? And actually, it would be a Sunday afternoon thing because I was always doing church music. And then I
Yeah.
would come home on a Sunday and I would start whatever was going because when I was with my ex, he would probably be working all day Sunday. And then he would come home in the evening and I would have something ready. And it would be a stew or a chili or a soup or
Well, I
something.
love chili.
Oh my God. You know, I,
I'm,
I I can't do spicy like I used to, but I love chili anyway.
and what's
Um,
funny that my kids asked me to make homemade chili for Sunday dinner with sweet cornbread on the side.
well, I do have feelings about cornbread and especially about the sweetness thing.
Oh, they love
Okay,
it.
Divergent says my granny owned the most popular restaurant in my hometown and won multiple blue ribbons for her
Hmm.
sweets.
Congratulations.
Wow. Yeah. So, um, I learned a lot at my mother's elbow. I've learned a lot from watching a ton of cooking TV shows and videos. And I get very, very adventurous. And there are things that I come upon that then become part of the permanent repertoire based on and they're really good things based on things that I've seen either on those shows or the videos or things. There are some really, really good cooking videos, cooking channels out there on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, as good as it gets, GOODE is what it's called, as good as it gets. Not another cooking show. Absolutely brilliant guy. Um, you know, and then of course there's well, there are so many more. There are so many more, and then there are the ones on TV as well. I like to watch. I used to enjoy the what is it, Food Network on TV. Now I call it the Game Show Network because it's all these stupid competitions that I hate.
I used to watch it. The only time I do watch it is in early morning before I go to work. And it's a show on there called The Pioneer Woman or something like that. I do enjoy watching her early morning.
I like her stuff, yes. Although it took me a while to get used to her because her voice is a little bit annoying.
And like, so I normally try to watch her in the morning before I leave after the
Uh-huh.
morning news. Because I have to be to work by, like, some days I have to be to work by 10.
Mm-hmm.
So after everybody leaves out for school and stuff, and I come back, I leave about like 9:30 to go to office. So by the time I come back, she's normally the first thing that comes on. And
Mm.
ain't nothing else on that early in the morning anyways, besides a couple repeats that I know ain't nothing else ain't on TV.
Laura is talking about a saying that you grew up with. You put your foot in that, which basically means you put your heart into it.
Oh, yep,
Uh,
that's right.
and she
But
said
it's a
that
certain way that you have to
because,
say it when you. It's a certain that particular phrase is a certain way that you have to say it,
yeah, yeah.
and something
And
that is like really good, you say a certain way.
yeah, so Lori manages an institutional kitchen in a school, and she's telling the story that sometime someone heard that expression and was horrified, thinking that somebody had literally put a
There's
foot.
blood in it.
Yeah, but yeah, Yardbarf is saying the Hillbilly Kitchen cooking show on YouTube. I think I've seen it. I don't watch it regularly, but I do think I've seen it. Food Wishes, Divergent says, Food Wishes. I love him. I love to watch him. I love his sense of humor. Food Wishes, yes, I would highly recommend him. And I also have learned a ton just from watching his channel. So, yeah, I mean, there are so many really great food channels out there. I've learned a lot about, and even some of the, if you watch YouTube on your smartphone, there's no escaping TikTok videos. So even those 60-second TikTok videos can be really useful. You'll learn a lot.
I'm fascinated with TikTok right about now. Like I be some nights or when I can't sleep and I don't feel like crocheting, I'll sit up until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just watching TikTok videos.
Don't feel like crocheting. What's wrong with you?
It's like I don't feel like getting out of bed and then I have to come all the way downstairs, grab my bag or whatever I want, and then go back upstairs and I feel like don't really feel like walking back down my steps at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Girlfriend, you keep a separate project in the bedroom. You
See,
keep a bedroom specific project.
see that I do most of my crocheting downstairs in my living room because that's where pretty much all my stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
Or downstairs in my basement because sometimes I lock myself in my basement once in a while when I don't feel like being bothered. And like between the two, that's normally the main two places I be at. I never keep anything upstairs because I do got two cats and they do eat my yarn when they upstairs.
Okay, Yarn Barf says she is such a sweet and godly woman, but sadly her husband passed away suddenly recently. Who is that, Yarn Barf?
I'm sorry for your loss, hon.
Whose husband passed recently? Hey, LaShara.
Hey, Lashera.
Was that uh, uh the one we were just talking about um with the channel? Who was it we were just? I can't remember the name. I have
Who's
a
the
mind.
food channel?
Pioneer Woman. Was it her husband who just passed? I
And
know
I haven't watched it recently.
he did have a health crisis not too long ago. Oh, Hillbilly Kitchen. Is it her husband who passed recently? Okay. I've only seen Hillbilly Kitchen a few times, and I did enjoy it, but I haven't been following it. Okay. Now, I do know that Pioneer Woman's husband did have a health crisis at some point in the past year, because he's a little bit older than she is, and
Yeah,
she's I think she's a few years younger than I am. She looks a whole lot younger than I do.
she
Um,
looks good. I will say that much.
she has, I think all of her children are grown now. You wouldn't believe it to look at her, but she does. She is. Um, yeah, I did not know that about Hillbilly Kitchen. I'll have to look that up again. Um, the videos of the Hillbilly Kitchen videos that I have seen, I have really liked. Uh, but I just haven't seen all that many of them.
Oh, and I meant to ask you, how was your retreat?
Oh, dear Lord, it was so good. I thought that I was going on at far too much length about it. I thought I was talking too much.
Oh no,
But it,
I caught pieces of it because when you was talking about it, I was in the process of fixing dinner, and I had to feed my cats because my cats is on like a special diet because they have stomach issues. So I had to like feed them for the night before tomorrow morning.
I see. Okay. Yeah, it was great. I mean, I came away with a tremendous amount of yarn. I mean, I said before that I had overspent on yarn um, when I was in New York at the other retreat. So I
Yeah.
was determined to underspend on yarn this time. I only spent $23 on yarn this time, and you should see the stuff that I got. I benefited from a giveaway prize. They had a bunch of giveaway prizes, and this one was provided by a nearby local yarn shop. So I have a ton of yarn. There was one guy who was there, who was he was decluttering or destashing, however you want to call it. So he had bins and bins and bins of hand dyed yarn in hank form.
Yeah.
So I got 5 hanks for roughly what you would pay for one hank at a yarn shop if you're lucky.
You can't beat that price at all.
So, and I've already given one of those hanks away to Granny D. Not only that, the same fellow was already following my channel. He knew that I love Lion Brand Mandala.
Yeah.
He brought some of his stash of Lion Brand Mandala to
Yeah.
give to me as a gift on the side without telling anybody. I was saying that, we transferred it from the trunk of his car to the trunk of my car. It sort of felt like a drug deal because it was secret. But I didn't care because it was yarn.
You cannot beat that at all.
I know. And then on Monday, I was able to meet up with Granny D for
Yeah.
lunch, and you can never meet Granny D without receiving a gift from her. That's just how Granny D is. So she gave me a shit ton of yarn too. I did not say that. For, Forget the word that I just said. She gave me a bunch of yarn too. And I gave her one of the 5 hanks of hand-dyed yarn that I had bought, and some other yarn that was like in the goodie bag, the welcome goodie bag that was there for every attendee. But I came away with so much more yarn than I had when I started. And it's funny because I was saying this before that sometimes I have, especially in the winter, sometimes I have really severe issues with depression. But I look at what I have and I'm going, I have to work through this yarn before I do anything desperate.
Yeah. That's how I feel right now because I have a bag behind my couch right now. Where the last time I was on with you last week, that
Mhm.
same night, this one lady I know that lives down the street from me wasn't using her yarn, and she knew I crocheted or whatever, and she just gave me like a big bag of yarn that she wasn't even using.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And
Ola Joe is leaving us. Good night, Ola Joe. I'm so glad you were here.
like I have a scale upstairs in my bathroom, so I weighed it, and it was 22 pounds. And I'm like, oh my God, like that much yarn.
Okay, Roberta is telling us more about Becky from Hillbilly Kitchen. I have to go back to that channel and seek her out
I'm
because
going
I
to have to
always
look around.
knew. Sorry?
Oh, I was going to say I was going to have to look them up tonight before
Yeah.
I go to bed.
If I don't do it tonight, I'll forget it. I know that about me. Um, so I'll have to go and look and seek her out again because I know I have enjoyed the videos that I have seen in the past. So I need to seek her out now.
I think I came across like maybe one video in the past, and that was about it.
There are some really interesting videos out there. I don't know how I started getting these, but I started watching some homesteader videos where
Yeah.
they're like preparing for the apocalypse, that sort of thing. Um, but you get some really interesting crafting and preserving and cooking ideas from those videos. And
You do.
they're good people regardless of what their you
Preference
know
are.
yeah, what they're working with in terms of a belief system. Hey, Wanda, welcome in.
Hello, Wanda.
Um, but yeah, I'm always willing to believe that people are good people, and some people have just been misguided.
I always believe that people is people regardless, and I always try to treat everybody the same way I want to be treated.
Exactly, exactly.
But you never know what the person might be going through in the course in their life. So
Well, of
you might bring
course.
a smile by saying hello or saying something funny to the person. You might just bring a smile to their face.
Do you know, I've had times when people told me that just a happy greeting or a cheerful hello
Mhm.
has made a difference to them. And to me it was just what I do. I was
Yeah.
happy to see the person. Um, but it made a big difference to them in whatever they were going through in the moment. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that is that is what I try to do. Just be the best that I can in the moment. Yes, there are people that I disagree with. That doesn't mean I have to, feel bad things about them as individuals.
Mhm.
Um, that's not always easy, but that's what we're taught. Do unto others, you know?
You ain't never lied about that one. You never lied about that one at all.
And I do wish that everybody kept that in mind. Do unto others.
They can
Um,
go either way. 'Cause when I was growing up, I was always taught respect is respect. If you want somebody to respect you, respect them first.
I think that's a good idea too. I think we were all taught the same thing, maybe not in the same words, but the same thing. Yeah. Divergence says we can be adult and agree to disagree. Lashera is leaving us. I'm glad you are here. Thank you for coming. Divergent is saying, or said a minute or two ago, she wants to learn to can. Actually, there are lots of resources on YouTube. Anything you want to learn, you can learn on YouTube. It's amazing nowadays.
I just learned how to do diamond painting last night from YouTube.
I don't really understand diamond painting.
Only reason why, because like my niece does it. I had one of my nieces does it, and she enjoys it. So I was like, well, I'm gonna buy one and see what it actually does. It's actually pretty fun.
Is it? Okay, cool. I remember when I was a kid, paint by numbers. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And if you did it right, you could come up with something that was actually quite nice. I never did it right. Actually, I don't think I ever finished one.
I
But,
remember. It's just that I never really got into it, so I really never had it.
you know, I always said that I didn't have artistic talent. I just think I never really paid attention to it and refined it because talent is talent. And, I've got musical talent that I've worked on a lot. And, I can write. I have, I have smarts, sometimes far too much. But uh, if I had paid attention to the visual arts, I can appreciate visual arts.
Yeah.
I just have no confidence in my ability to create something that might be visually pleasing.
Look, as long as you believe in yourself, you should be fine.
I can create crochet stuff that is visually pleasing all day long. Sometimes it takes all day long. Sometimes it takes more than one day.
That's how I feel about this one. This one here that I'm working on now. Since the last time I was on last week, I had finished the red one that I was working on, and also I'm about to show you my son's blanket that I started halfway, and then I sat it down, forgot about it, and finally finished this one. And then I started this one for my aunt, which in the colors of purple and white.
I do like those colors. What kind of stitch are you working with?
Half double crochets.
Okay, is it like in a shell formation?
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that. Hold on, I have to hold it up. This is the top.
Oh,
No, the
okay.
bottom.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there.
This is the bottom part, but when you turn it upside down, oh, my hook got caught.
Okay, cool.
And
Okay,
it's easier for me to like do it upside down, because then if I do it the opposite way, it's like it'll confuse the mess out of me. So it's
how's it?
easier for me to do it this way compared to the other way.
Yeah, it doesn't take that much to confuse the mess out of me.
And like
Um,
when my nieces and them come over and they see me sitting here doing this, and I be zoned out, and they be like have to call me like 4 or 5 times, like auntie, and I'm like, what? They be like, I've been calling you for the past 15 minutes. And I'm like, when you see me doing this, don't bother me. Because I have my headphones on, doing this in my own little world. And half the time that when I look, I run out of yarn. And I'm like, ooh, crap, I got to go get some more.
hmm. Okay, Wanda says her goal every day is to put a smile on at least one person's face. I think that is a wonderful goal. Um, Divergent says tried diamond painting and her ADHD said nope. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. You
Oh,
know, a lot of our crochet friends are getting into the diamond painting. I just I just haven't I don't have an understanding yet of really what it is.
like, when my niece started doing it about like 4 or 5 years ago. And that sometimes that like when she comes over and she's like in one of her moods, she'll bring it over and we will sit here and talk. And while I'm crocheting, she's doing that. We will talk about like certain things in life and how she's doing in school, if she's interested in like different things. And we will sit and steam off for about like 2 hours.
Well, it's a great thing for bonding. Any kind of craft is really great for bonding.
And
I
then she,
mean, honestly, that's why I wanted to learn it as a kid, just to sit there at my grandmother's elbow when she was visiting that one time. Um, but after she went back home, I never did it again until like 5 or 6 years ago, and then I've picked it up with a vengeance.
yeah. And, like before I started, like for the like me personally, like I just started recently. I recently just picked this back up again after like 10 years, and like 10 years for like 10 straight years, I did not crochet for like 10 years. Like I just picked it back up was back in 2018.
I think it was 2016 when I picked it up again, which was great timing because later that year I became very, very sick, and it was very useful just to have that to do. But I can't even count back to the year it was when my grandmother visited, and I learned it from her. Or maybe I decline to say because it might show my age, but everybody knows my age anyway. But yeah, It's so wonderful that I've read articles about this. In fact, long before I picked the hook up again, I had read articles about this thing, this kind of a brain activity when you're like totally focused and you lose track of time and you're just completely there. And
Hmm.
I think they call it theta waves. And I have had that experience on the piano bench,
Yeah.
and I really.
Like when I first started crocheting was in my teenage years. Cause this lady where I lived at the time, it was an older woman that lived next door to me, and she crocheted. And every day during the summer, I will always come home or go outside to sit on my porch and always see her sitting there just like minding her business. And I asked her what was she doing one day, coming home from school one fall. And she said she was crocheting, and so I was like, well, can you teach me? And she taught me the three basic stitches. And
Laurie, I'm sorry, but Laurie is talking about a piece of woodworking that her son made for her that she loves very, very dearly. And her dad taught her son to do it. I want to see a picture, Laurie.
I would
I
love to see it. I would love to see the woodwork.
yeah. Um. Oh. By the way, where is it? That sign behind me was created by Brenda the Newbie Crocheter and her husband. They do that kind of woodwork. I mean, it's a side business for him because he does woodwork. Um, well, basically for pleasure because uh, they own their own business and so they need a relief. But so I got that signed from Brenda. If you do not know Brenda the Newbie Crocheter, seek her out because she is wonderful. Um,
Sorry about the cough. I have a dry cough a little bit. That's why I'm drinking ginger ale
oh,
right now to keep my throat a little moist.
oh, please. I'm always coughing. I'm always dripping and blowing my nose and everything. And I don't care how rude it looks because I'm just that kind of person.
Cause like right now, I got a dry cough. But every year during the weather where I live at, when it changes, I get a dry cough for some reason and don't know why. It happens every year, so like a bunch of ginger ale.
That was one thing over the weekend. As soon as I got to the mountains, I was dripping non-stop. I could not stop the sinuses from draining. And so I was blowing my nose and I was sneezing and I felt like I was an awful nuisance and everything, but it was okay. Um, I got used to it and then I came back. And but I'm still, every season. I used to say that I was, allergic to New York. Now I say I'm allergic to North Carolina. I think I'm allergic to Earth, maybe.
And the virgin, yes, it's true. There's no type of moisture up here.
Tell me again where you are. I forget.
I live on the outskirts of Pittsburgh, PA.
Oh,
I live in like the boroughs off of Pittsburgh.
I have a friend who he's no longer in Pittsburgh, but he was when he was there. He was very, very, very active in the classical music community in Pittsburgh. He was part of the Pittsburgh, what is it, New Music Ensemble. He's a composer. Now he's in Colorado on the faculty at the University of Colorado. But
Mm.
I mean, he's a pretty darn good composer and a really lovely guy. I well, I really think. I mean, I hope that every one of my friends I can describe as a perfectly lovely guy. Um, I mean, that's the kind of guy that I want to attract around me.
Yeah.
But but anyway, he was very very active in Pittsburgh when he was there, and he and his partner. His partner was also very active. Um, he sort of had dual roles as, as a businessman by day and a drag queen by night. And his drag name was Ida Bagel.
Oh yes, I heard it. I heard of him.
You've actually heard of Ida
Yes.
Bagel.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because at one point, only reason why I heard of him because I have a friend that's in it, dress up and stuff like that, and every time that when the show happened somewhere down here, me and my friend would go to one of the shows.
Well, they return uh, to the area sometimes because they both have family in the area. Um, but they're both really, really wonderful people. And I always want wonderful people that I know to meet each other. You know how that is.
Yeah.
There was a time in my life when I wanted to keep things very compartmentalized, but
Mhm.
now I want, you know, these wonderful people to meet those wonderful people. And if they're not wonderful people, then, you know, I'm done with them.
Right. And
And
I always
I,
enjoy my friends' company. Like I enjoy everybody's company. I like to just have a good time, crack jokes, and just laugh.
oh my God, that was the whole weekend for me. I met some of the most hysterically funny people you will ever see. I mean, there was one guy. Actually, I'm gonna interview him tomorrow for my Monday Men series. Um, I expect we'll probably record about 3 hours. Ah, he has some of the funniest stories you will ever hear, and at the same time, he's the kind of master knitter who is on the board that adjudicates when
Yeah.
people apply to the guild to be called master knitters.
Mm.
So he's a writer, he's a personality, he's pretty much retired now, but the stories he can tell, oh my God. And I mean, that's just one example. And, that's the thing about these retreats. It's not necessarily about learning new skills. It's not about networking for business. It's about these interpersonal relationships that you build with people who are just swear word amazing.
And sometimes you might meet your best friend from going to different places.
From both of these retreats that I did, September and November, I met some of the most wonderful people. And I want those relationships to last for a very long time.
Hmm.
Oh, Divergent says that she has always wanted to, but has never seen a drag show. Have you seen something like the RuPaul's Drag Race on TV? It's not always as slick as that, but it can be a lot of fun.
'Cause my friend that I was referring to, I do his hair.
Oh yeah?
Yes, I do his hair every single time
Yeah. Oh
because he
gosh.
won't let nobody else touch his hair but me. Even though I'm damn near bald, but
Do you know that in every field of endeavor there are people who say that there are those who do and those who teach, and I don't think that that is a valid. Um, I don't think that's a valid separation. I think
and
that
he's a good, really good person because we met in high school, and with him, I love him to death. I love him to death. I'll do anything for him.
you have to send me pictures of the finished project or the finished product when you have done his hair and he's got all the makeup and everything on and the costuming. I'd love to see it.
I will. Cause what he's supposed to be coming over here for Christmas, or like the week before Christmas.
Bring him on live. We'll do a thing.
Okay, let me
In
ask him first because he don't like to be on camera that much.
okay. Well, talk to him, but please. I have such a small viewership. He's not really going to risk anything.
I'll ask.
Um, but yeah. Hey, Denisha. I didn't realize you were here. Yeah. Yeah, RuPaul is just amazing and has done amazing things for I don't know how many communities I can count.
Right.
I mean, there's the drag community, there's the gay and lesbian community, there's the gay and lesbian people of color community, which is very separate and does not always get counted because, a lot of mainstream America thinks of the gay and lesbian community as privileged white people. And it's not. So I think that RuPaul, and of course, there's the drag community and the non binary community. So I cannot begin to count the ways in which RuPaul has contributed to the welfare of gay and lesbian America, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, questioning, whatever the hell you want to be,
Uh-huh.
community. Oh, hey, Marina Elena Bolivia. I've had a little bit too much vodka to pronounce your name correctly, but Divergent says she quotes RuPaul too often. There's no such thing as too often. Yeah.
I haven't watched RuPaul since what, maybe the third season? No, the second or third season.
Now, I don't watch much TV nowadays, but I did watch when I was with my ex, and he would watch it regularly. I did watch the Drag Race
Yeah.
show, and there is some amazing talent out there. Just amazing.
Ethan, where's Pepper?
Lori is saying that she knows someone who is a absolutely fabulous drag queen, but completely shy and quiet in person. And that is not a surprise. It is not surprise to learn that someone who performs in a very flamboyant way is very quiet when not performing. You see that a lot actually with many actors, um, and you know performers of every sort, because all of that energy goes into the performance, and then in person,
Yeah.
very often those people in person, in one-on-one individual interactions, they're full of doubt. But when they're on stage, they throw the doubt aside and just give it what they've got. And that's a skill.
It is.
It takes it takes a while to learn that.
Hey, I
Divergent.
will be back because I'm going to go get me some more ginger ale.
Okay, bring me some, please. Okay. Divergent is talking about Dragula. I don't know Dragula. Denisha has been watching Drag Race. I would agree, Denisha, that it has really upped. I mean, the whole shtick, the whole expertise, has really increased over the years. Yeah, I mean, and I really love that sort of thing. Oh, do you know what? I had a friend. Um, I've lost touch with him, but he was really funny and would come up with pun names for drag queens. And I can't remember any of them right now off the top of my head, but just the other night I thought of him because I thought of a great drag name, Vera Cosile. But that's one of those things that you have to know a little bit of biology to know what it refers to. Oh, that's why. Okay, Divergent says the Dragula is on Netflix. I don't watch Netflix. I rarely ever watch TV at all. Hey, Karen Miller, glad to see you. Oh, I'm sorry for you. Anyway, what else is going on? I'm, I'm gonna post the link again if anybody wants to come up. Hey, Daphne. Um, if anybody wants to come up, then there's the link. Um, so we're just talking chat and basic stuff. I was telling stories about the retreat I was just on, where I was surrounded by 30 other gay men who do yarn. It was heaven, honestly. Even though I had to share a bathroom, it was heaven. Um, you know,
Yeah, I'm
oh,
back.
Lori, that is so true. Lori was talking about her drag queen friend. He says he is a deep thinker. I asked how he can be so gregarious while in drag. He said, I am acting. I have a set of lines, she says, and she has her own personality. She could say stuff I don't have the nerve to say. Exactly. And do you know, um, I've been on stage doing opera, and so there is that that thing when you have that barrier with the costume and the lighting and the distance with the stage,
Mm-hmm.
that there's a safety there, and um, I haven't done it as much as I would like to have done, but I have that experience. So, I mean, I know what your friend is talking about. So, it is all acting. And honestly, I think that a lot of people who are successful in business learn to do that in their own subtle way.
Close
They probably don't call it acting,
it.
but
Get out.
they are doing exactly that.
One thing I do like like when I do go to like once in a while when my friend does do a show down here, that he's like a somewhat of a comedian a little bit, and some of the stuff that my friend be saying will have you dying and talking about it for like weeks. And I'm like, and some of the stuff like, did he just say that? Did my friend just say that? And I'm like, ooh, mm,
And sometimes those things that just come out of the character's mouth or the role that they're playing, they might just completely escape the person inside who is acting. They might not even remember having said that because
oh,
they were in character. I
my
mean,
friend's like this 24/7 with in character or not. My friend is just like that.
now I met this one guy at the retreat. I'm sorry, I cannot stop talking about the retreat because I met so many wonderful people.
Well,
But
you're fine. Oh,
I met this one guy who I met a number of guys who were hysterically funny, but this one that I'm thinking about now, he has been on a number of cooking shows. His business was he's retired now, but his business was wedding cakes, and so he was on a lot of those baking competition shows, and he's been on several of them. And if you follow those things, you've probably seen him. But the stories he would tell,
mm-hmm.
um, about the shows, about other experiences, about celebrity weddings, about bridezillas, hysterically funny. I mean, there was one morning I went to him and I said, I'm going to sit down beside you because specifically I have nothing to say good about anybody, so I'm going to sit beside you. Because you know the old saying.
Yeah. To answer your question, Karen, me personally, no, because it took me about like 20 balls of finger weight yarn to make a baby blanket.
Yeah, Kara, that's gonna depend upon the pattern really, and the size that you want. So that there is no one answer to that question. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I I I I hope to bring some of the wonderful wonderful friends I made at this retreat onto this channel with me because oh my god, the skill level. There were these big beefy men with these huge hands handling like these teeny tiny zero-size knitting needles and doing this amazing fine work that you could not believe. Um, I mean, I felt like my crochet work was absolutely rustic and crude beside what they were doing. Um, and you know, I don't suck as a crocheter. So, but I was in doubt in comparison to all the stuff that they were doing.
Yeah.
But then that's my nature to doubt myself, regardless of the setting.
I remember when I first started following you, and like a month or so after I started following you, I downloaded one of your hat patterns and
Mm-hmm.
made it and gave it to a friend of mine.
Oh yeah,
And
and
it was like it wasn't too bad because it was my first time reading a written pattern, and it didn't turn out too bad.
was it easy to read as someone who was fairly new to patterns?
It
Because
was.
that's what I want to do. Because I used to in the corporate world. That's what I did. Business writing. So I wanted my
Actually,
job was making things that were clear to people both on the tech side and the business side so that everyone would understand what was going on.
like at first, when I first started it off, when you first started the hat, that's why I was kind of confused at a little bit. Then I had to I stopped like 4 times, and then I was like, okay, set it aside for about like 2 days because I started getting frustrated a little bit, and then I went back, and then I was like, oh, I get it now. This is how you're supposed to start it off. Then ever since it was just like, and I made about like three other hats from that pattern ever since.
Do you know when I came back yesterday? Where is that package? I found that I had a package in my PO box. It was more blue yarn. I have more blue hats in my future. Because I did 85 hats and sent them in to Hat Not Hate last year. So
do, you,
now sorry,
do you still have the one that's still sitting on the mannequin head?
I'm not sure which one you mean.
It was the all blue one. Because around the time I first started following you a few months back, you had an all blue one that I liked it. It was similar to that one, but it was blue.
Well, I have several. If you scroll back through my blog, which hold on a second, let me just trigger the blog. Um, if you scroll back through my blog, you'll see all of my hat patterns. And you will more than likely find the one that you are looking for. Because all of my hat patterns are on the blog. I
I would
always
have to
make my
look that one up because I remember one of your lives that you showed it that was on the mannequin head, and I just can't remember which one it was.
I've shown a bunch of them on the mannequin head.
I remember being blue.
I've done a bunch of blue ones. Honestly, I uh, as I was saying, I wound up sending 85 hats to Hat Not Hate for their project. So I have to exceed that this year. So I'm glad that Doris sent me this beautiful. Okay, let me show it again. This, that's not it. Where'd it go? Anyway, Doris sent me some wonderful blue yarn that I will use for more blue hats for next year's Hat Not Hate. And I have to exceed that number. Um, and I'm going to challenge other people to do the same. Now, I under, I understand that Hat Not Hate as an organization is branching out separately from Lion Brand, so that Hat Not Hate is more of an independent organization.
Yeah.
So there will be more news about what's going on, but at the same time, they're still doing the same thing and will be accepting more blue hats. Karen, you did 170 hats last year. Wow. I can't believe you. That is just amazing.
I
I
can't even barely do 4 a year.
I felt inadequate for doing 85 because other people were sending in hats in the hundreds like Karen did.
I can't even barely do 4. And it takes me like almost like a month just to finish it.
You know what? Every hat is valuable because every hat is made with love.
And I'll be like, what the heck? And when I do start it, it's like because around my birthday, that's when I start the hat. Then I don't finish it until St. Patrick's Day.
Um, I I think the last year the deadline was like toward the end of summer or something like that. I don't remember exactly. Hey Gigi. Oh, Karen Miller is saying that her adding machine cranks them out fast. I have seen that. A lot of crocheters love these knitting machines. I do not have one. Um,
I heard about it and I looked it up, and the price for them, I refused to pay for it.
yeah, I'm thinking. Look how much yarn I could get for that money.
That's how I feel. So I'll be like, I'll just continue doing what I know best.
Exactly. I mean, I will sit up and do hats all night long instead of paying that kind of money for a machine.
hmm
And the machine. If I'm using a machine, it takes the love out of the equation.
Yes. Cause right now, I'm still sitting here working on Christmas projects right now. Cause so far, since the last time I met with you, I did mention finish my son's blanket that I recently gave to him last night. I woke up this morning and started on my aunt's shawl at like 4 o'clock this morning. And this is how far I came. And on top of that, I still went to work today. Plus, I got 4 other shawls upstairs in my room that I finished. 3 baby blankets that's still in the process that still need to be finished, all before Christmas. And about 5 sets of pot holders that I have to make. And I'm
That
like,
all of that sounds manageable.
and I work full time.
Working is overrated.
So I'm like, well, since since I'm talking to you, I might as well work on this some more before tomorrow. Because of simple fact, tomorrow I have to start on the pot holders tomorrow before anything else.
Mm.
And the pot
I
holders have to be shipped out by next Tuesday. Because the people I'm making them for all lived out of state.
I'm I'm fortunate in that I really only have my sister. There are some friends I make gifts to, but that's an occasional thing. But it's really just me and my sister. and I don't have to send anything out. And she's tired of my crochet goods, and I certainly don't need any more of her cross stitch output either. But
Like if I do the pot holders, I can get done. If I get off work on time tomorrow, by the time I get off work, come home, get situated, I can make at least 2 sets of pot holders within an hour and a half nonstop.
yeah, you can do pot holders quickly. Do you just do like a single crochet back and forth?
Yes, with the pot holders, yes.
Yeah, you can do those very easily. Or you could do them with a different stitch. But,
Normally I
why
do the
bother?
single. I normally do the single stitch because it's like with the pot holders is easier and faster for me.
Hmm.
Then over the summer, and once I'm done with like all my Christmas stuff, I won't like crochet for about like 2 weeks because I do have like carpal tunnel in my hand, and it's already starting to like act up as it is now as I'm sitting here doing this. And it's just like right now will be times that like I can sit here crocheting and then my hand be like this, and it's just like and I can't move it for about like an hour or so.
Do you
And then
know,
like when I do be ready to go pick it up, it's time for me to go to bed because I have to get up in the morning.
over the weekend I had a few moments where I was having some kind of tension in my left hand that I
Hmm.
was not accustomed to, that I attributed to just sitting there and working with the yarn for all of that time, even though that's what I do every day anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but it's gone now. But I think it's the sort of thing that will come and go. I remember when I was a typesetter and would like type for 8 hours at a time.
Hmm.
Yeah, my wrists would hurt. But then that when I changed jobs, that went away. So that was good.
Like over the years, like I always had like issues with my hands and stuff over the years. Doesn't matter if I'm sitting there cooking or whatever. I always had issues with my hands over the years.
Do you know most recently sitting in this chair? I should reposition this, shouldn't I? But most recently, um, I've had issues with the pillows and cushions that I have in this chair because there was one that had fallen into a position that raised my left elbow and shoulder a little higher than I was accustomed to. So I was getting tension that was new to me. But as soon as I took that or moved that cushion away, it was back to normal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm fortunate in that because we both know people who have issues with hand and wrist and everything, and it becomes a challenge to them. And if that happens to me, I will be very unhappy indeed.
And like even though like at night on the nights that like I don't have to be if I don't have to work the next day that I always sit like because like my basement I have like 12 different bins worth of yarn and scrap yarn. So I will go down to my basement and sort through the bins of different yarns.
Hmm.
And those bins be pretty heavy. And my doctor be talking about you can't be lifting bent like anything over 5 pounds because of my back. But I do it anyways. Because I'm like, who else is going to do the stuff for me? And I'm like, oh my God. I even asked my doctor one time, was he want to come to the house and help me?
Yeah. Did he?
No. He looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah. Now, I wish I had the space to have a yarn wall like some people have,
Yeah.
because, I mean, I do have a substantial stash, and it might even benefit me to have it on display so that I might think of things. Um, but I don't. Maybe I hope that I will have a place of my own again, um, before I die. But right now, that's not my situation. So,
I told myself this year, the course of 2020, that before I buy any more yarn or accept any more yarn that anybody gives me, I'm going to use up what I got in my house.
exactly.
Because I'm getting tired of buying bins. And recently, since last week, I just bought more yarn since
Uh
last week. And spend about $300.
oh. On yarn.
Yes. On top of yarn that I'm trying to get rid of. Because when I mentioned last week I was getting low on yarn, I meant by the 12 bins of yarn I already had.
Hmm.
And I just ordered more of $300.
I need to do an inventory of the yarn that I have.
It was like when the yarn that I ordered was mainly colors I didn't have anymore. Like for like the spring colors and towards the end of winter colors. It was like mainly what I have in my stations, like mainly like blacks, whites, like multicolors, and like I have baby brunette yarn of their different types of colors that they have, and I'm like, ooh. And I seen that it was a greenish, whitish color baby brunette yarn that I seen, and I wanted it. I'm like, I want to order like 4 of them.
Well, anytime you're going to order something for a crochet project, you need to have quantity.
Because I seen
Um,
that as far as like that particular colorway, I normally change out my blankets during the seasons, and I don't got a greenish whitish one yet. So
well, then you must share a photograph when it's finished.
I will. As soon as I get it and I crochet it up, I'll send you a picture.
Excellent, excellent. Well, okay, boys and girls, I am beginning to think about dinner. We've been on for a while now, and I am
Almost
well,
2 hours.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad for everybody who has been here. Thank you so much for staying with me. And as always, like, subscribe, comment, share, all the standard YouTube crap, and keep coming back. And thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure having you on the panel.
You're welcome
So
anytime.
I'm going to click end now.
Good night.